right, folks, and welcome to week number 4 and ultimately unit number 2. So unit number 2 here is really focused on understanding scholarly articles. So last unit we looked at whether or not popular articles did a good job of explaining scholarly articles, and I think we found by and large that they weren't perfect, okay? Even when they did a pretty decent job, they certainly left some detail out. Obviously, that might be fine in some situations. In other situations, they did a particularly bad job. So this week, we are going to, in this unit, rather, we're going to get into looking at 2 scholarly articles and trying to understand what exactly they tell us. So this week, watch the video, which you're doing right now. We're going to begin research discussion round 1. We're going to do 2 research discussions in this class. This one's going to last for 3 of the 4 weeks of this unit, and then at the end of this unit, we'll start round 2. And I'll talk about that more in a second. I want you to read the Essay 2 assignment, and there's some work to go along with that, and then start looking at next week's work right now. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at that research discussion. So this is going to take place over 3 weeks. And we probably don't actually even need to do any discussions today, except you and your group might want to chat a little bit. So, your group should contain approximately 6 folks. Groups range between 5 and 8. I try to keep it around 6 if humanly possible. But between 5 and 8 total should work to answer the following question over the next couple weeks. Why do Fowler and Peters reach different conclusions? Why does the research that Fowler conducts disagree with the results of Peters' study so clearly? So these are about the articles you guys read for last week. What you want to do is discuss this and come to a conclusion as a group. And we can do this in your discussion boards, of course. But first, and for the course of this week, what I want you to focus on, everyone will get a Google Doc shared with them. And that will be a folder that's for your group, okay? It will have all of your group mates' names attached to it, and you'll see everyone who's attached. Those are the same people who are in your discussion group, okay? So this is your group. I'm going to try to keep you guys in these groups for the entire semester. So, you guys will have a little cohort group to work with. So, what I would recommend doing first, there's a document for this research discussion round 1 that's in that folder that you all have access to. I want you to start filling that out. Now, you guys can set a time to do that, and you guys can all come in and do that collectively. All of you can come into that Google Doc separately or at the same time and can add stuff. You guys can do Google Chat while you're at it. You can do a Google Meet and talk. Or you can just say, hey, let's, over the next few days, work on filling this in. You just reach out to your group mates to figure out what you want to do there. You can email them through the Google document. You can leave messages in the discussion area of our class, okay? You don't need to post anything in the discussion board for this week. That'll actually be coming up in another couple weeks, over next week and the week after, okay? However, I do want you to start recording this in your Google Doc. And I, of course, have access to all of your Google Docs, so I will be coming in and giving you guys comments and really kind of trying to push you onto the next level. So that's going to be my goal over the course of this week. So the only thing you might need to do in the discussion board itself this week, communicate with your group mates about how you want to fill this out. After that, we want to move over to the Google Doc and work to fill this template out here. And I will show you guys all that next week, that template as well, but I think I want you guys just to start working on it this week. I want you to get it as filled out as possible this week. So take a look at that template, see what you can do to fill it out with the 2 articles that we read last week. Again, I will be giving you guys feedback in it as you work throughout the course of this week and starting next week. So then we're going to move into discussion next week. So you'll see more instructions next week about how to go about the discussion. All right, and next, we're going to talk about Essay 2. So first and foremost, I'm going to come up and show you the assignment in a second. We'll go through and take a look at that. I want you to read this article. It sort of frames out some of the things that we're thinking about in terms of the credibility as well as the design of scholarly studies. It's a popular article. It's a quick and easy read, okay? Then there's a video here on how to look for scholarly articles. If you're struggling, don't hesitate to reach out to me or, of course, reach out to Professor Moore, who's here to help you, okay? And then annotations for the Essay 2 articles. So all this will make sense when we go take a look at this. All right, so as always, the essay here is set up in the same format as the last one. There's some background. So essay 1 focused on the idea that the first step in the information literacy process is to realize that what one finds on the internet's likely of dubious authority. It doesn't mean that it's wrong, it just means we don't know enough to establish credibility. So we might need to go and look beyond just a single thing that we can find online. Typically then, of course, students just go, they find a scholarly source, presume it's good to go. But the problem with that is that scholarly studies themselves are only good as the work that goes into them, and often different studies on the same subject end up coming to different conclusions, and we're kind of back to where we were online when we see multiple articles that say different things. So, for Essay 2, what I want you guys to do is to find 2 scholarly studies that look at the same thing. If you'd like to use the scholarly article that you used in Essay 1 as one of those, you may. If you want to swap topics altogether, that is also fine. Now, same thing really means just that. You can't just look at 2 articles about cancer, 2 scholarly studies about cancer. That is just way too diverse. They really need to look at the same aspect of a topic and really try to answer the same question. So the articles you guys read for last week, those 2 studies both look at the impact of diet soda on one's ability to lose weight, or alternatively on one's likelihood to gain weight. Okay? They're really trying to answer the same question. They go about it in different ways, but they are trying to answer the exact same question, which is what's the impact of this artificial sweetener, these diet sodas, on weight gain or weight loss? Okay, it's a good example of a pair of articles on the same topic. Once you have 2 articles, your goal is to figure out which one is stronger, or how they differ, or what we as the general public should take away from the 2 results. Okay? So, if they come to totally different conclusions, beautiful. Your job is to figure out why. If they come to somewhat different conclusions, like they're in the same basic realm, but the degree to which something impacts is found to be different, then we need to talk about how they reach that. Okay. Ultimately, the goal here is to figure out what the reader, as readers, we should take away from these 2 articles together. Now, if you find 2 articles and they show the exact same thing, I might try to shy away from them a little bit because there's not a lot to say. Like they did similar studies, they found the exact same thing. However, let's say you found the article from last week about breastfeeding shows that at 30, babies who were breastfed for a year had on average 4 IQ points higher than those who were not breastfed at all. Okay, that's a clear result. If you find another study that shows that, babies who are breastfed are more intelligent, but that tends to go away from the time once they hit the teenage years, which other studies have shown, then you've got somewhat different results. They both show it has an impact on mental capacity, but one shows that dissipates over time. The other one shows that at 30 years old, that it still exists. So we can see those are 2 similar but different results, absolutely worth taking a look at and trying to understand why it is they came to different results. Okay, in order to do this, so there's some specific things to think about: the author's background, the background of the journal in which it was published, statements about conflicts of interest, and then, of course, the study design. And next week, we're going to spend a lot of time learning how to do this. You might need to do a little bit of research for this, just to understand who the author is, or where the journal came from, or what something of that sort, but it's not going to be the sort of research paper that you wrote in high school. We'll work on those in Essay 3 and 4. Okay? So some basic criteria here. MLA format should be followed, 3 to 4 pages. I'm not a particular stickler for length, but if you're under 3 pages, chances are you're also pretty underdeveloped when it comes to this essay. Quotations need to be cited, paraphrases need to be cited, parenthetical citation should be in place. One tip I will give you guys for this essay is make sure you find one that actually does a study as opposed to something in a scholarly article, a scholarly journal that might not do a study. You can find lots of articles in scholarly journals that don't do a study. In order for this assignment to work, we really do need to find a study. As I mentioned before, once you find your 2 scholarly articles, you're going to write and submit annotations of those 2 articles. Okay, so there's another set of annotations here. These are going to be the ones on which you write Essay 2. So it's good to get in the practice of summarizing and being able to explain these 2 studies. Okay? this is once you get through here, start looking at next week's work right away, because you can start a little bit early there and give yourself a little bit of breathing room. Okay? If you've got any questions along the way, please don't hesitate to let me know.